Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Rupinder Kaur Chawla with the Midday News.
As the number of COVID cases are on the rise again, we appeal to our listeners not to lower the guard, follow all the precautions and all those above 45 years to get vaccinated without any hesitation. Stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing and focus on hand and face hygiene.
The headlines. Peaceful voting underway for single-phase assembly elections in Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Union Territory of Puducherry. Third phase polling also progressing smoothly in West Bengal and Assam. Special campaign for COVID-19 appropriate behavior being launched today to ensure 100% mask usage, personal hygiene and sanitation. Night curfew imposed in Delhi till 30th April in view of rising COVID cases. Indian Medical Association urges centre to open up vaccination for everyone above 18 years of age. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses BJP workers on party's Foundation Day today, urges them to counter false narratives being built around farm laws, CAA and labour laws. Justice N.V. Ramana appointed as 48th Chief Justice of India. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar holds talks with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in New Delhi. And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu addresses Dandi Yatra concluding ceremony at Gujarat, says people may be political opponents, but they should work for development of the country. Polling for the single-phase elections in Kerala, Tamil Nadu as well as the Union Territory of Puducherry along with the Lok Sabha by-polls for Kanyakumari seat in Tamil Nadu and Malappuram seat in Kerala is progressing smoothly. Polling is also being held in Assam and West Bengal for the third phase of assembly elections. The average voter turnout registered till 1:30 p.m. in different states is as follows. Assam 53.23%, Kerala 47.29%, Puducherry 53.80%, Tamil Nadu 40.12%, West Bengal 52.89%, Malappuram Parliamentary Constituency 41.70%, Kanyakumari Parliamentary Constituency 33.79%. All necessary facilities and security arrangements have been made to ensure free and fair polling during this phase. The voter verifiable paper audit trail VVPAT is being used along with electronic voting machine EVM at every polling station with a view to enhance the transparency and credibility of the election process. The polling is being conducted till 6 p.m. in Assam while it will continue till 6:30 p.m. in West Bengal. In case of Puducherry, Tamil Nadu and Kerala, polling will continue till 7 p.m. barring the left-wing extremism affected areas where it will be held till 6 p.m. In view of the prevailing COVID-19 pandemic, the option of postal ballot facility has been extended to the electors who are COVID-19 positive or suspect as certified by competent authority and are in home or institutional quarantine, along with those marked as persons with disabilities, PWD, and above the age of 80 years. In Tamil Nadu, total 3,998 candidates, including 411 women and 2 third-gender persons, are vying for the 234 assembly seats spread over 37 districts during the single phase. Over 6.28 crore voters, including 3.19 crore women and 7,192 third-gender persons, will decide the fate of these candidates. Total 88,936 polling stations have been set up for this purpose. Now we go over live to our Chennai correspondent Joy to get the updates about the ongoing polling in Tamil Nadu. Joy, we are seeing that the voting percentage in Tamil Nadu is less as compared with the other states. How does it compare with the percentage during the last elections? And is it expected?
Yeah, you were right, Valsa.
Right.
Actually, no, like now the voting percentage in the state is almost 41%, and 34% votes have been registered in Kanyakumari district where the by-poll is conducted. Compared to the voting percentage in 2000 assembly elections, it was 74.8. Now we have a different kind of a situation because of COVID and also the summer heat. Voters are expected to come after 2 p.m. even as the sea breeze sets in and temperatures would come down. And young voters, it was very obvious that they didn't come to the polling booths in the morning. That might be due to the reason of the heat, or they are working in night shifts and they may turn out in the evening. That is for sure that it is likely to increase in the afternoon. Arrangements have been made in all the polling booths to handle COVID cases, and gloves were distributed to workers by health workers and voters on duty. And the Election Commission has ensured that no one is left out, and it has focused on 100% voting. And I don't think that COVID is going to be keeping the people away from voting.
So we hope that the percentage is going to improve during the latter half of the day. Right? And the state health department has warned people to wear masks, and they have asked them to avoid family gatherings and public events. And I think campaigning might also be it could also be contributed to the rise in COVID cases. The thing is that testing facilities have been increased all over the state, and the state health department has yesterday told that after 7th they are going to do door-to-door checking for COVID cases. Right. Thank you, Joy, for those details. Besides, the Lok Sabha by-polls will be conducted simultaneously for Kanyakumari seat in Tamil Nadu, where there will be 12 candidates in the fray, and also for Malappuram seat in Kerala, where 6 candidates will be taking part in the electoral battle. In Kerala, 957 candidates, including 123 women and one-third gender person, are vying for the 140 assembly seats spread over 14 districts during the single phase. Over 2.74 crore voters, including 1.41 crore women and 290 third-gender persons, will decide the fate of these candidates. Now we go over live to our Thiruvananthapuram correspondent, Mayusha, to get the updates. Mayusha, the polling percentages seem to be very high in Kerala. How is it comparing with the last election percentage?
Yes, so far the Kerala is recording very high polling. Of over 50% polling has been reported till 2 p.m. Among which women voters have also come up in large numbers. Over 49% women have already cast their votes, and over 20% of the transgenders have also cast their votes. So when we look into the last assembly election figures of 2016, the polling percentage was 77.53%. The way that the present polling is progressing really shows that this time the polling may be slightly on a higher side than the previous year. And everywhere the polling is going on very smoothly, abiding to strict COVID protocols, and there is no untoward incidents. And the long lines have been there in every polling booth, irrespective of the very hot weather here.
Right. Right, so we hope to see the percentage surpassing that of earlier elections. Yes, thank you, Mayusha. In the Union Territory of Puducherry, 324 candidates, including 35 women, are vying for 30 seats in 4 districts during the single phase. Our Puducherry correspondent reports that over 10.04 lakh voters, including 5.31 lakh women and 116 third-gender persons, will decide the fate of these candidates. Total 1,559 polling stations have been set up for this purpose. In West Bengal, 205 candidates, including 13 women, are vying for 31 seats in 3 districts during the third phase. The state is witnessing 8-phase elections. Over 78.52 lakh voters, including 38.59 lakh women and 246 third-gender persons, will decide the fate of these candidates. Total 8,480 polling stations have been set up for this purpose. Now we go over live to our Kolkata correspondent Madhuparna to get the latest updates on the polling. Madhuparna, how is the polling going on in the third phase in West Bengal, and who are the prominent candidates in the fray in this phase?
Polling is going on amid tight security in 31 seats across 3 districts in West Bengal. And barring a few stray incidents, the overall polling process is by and large peaceful. I would like to mention an incident that in Uluberia Uttar constituency of Howrah, the sector officer Topon Sarkar, he has allegedly taken 4 EVMs and VVPATs to his relative's house last night, and the relative happens to be a leader of the Trinamool Congress. And there have been so many allegations regarding the incident, and the Election Commission has sought a report, as well as a sector officer and SI and 3 home guards have been already suspended. 2 more assistant sector officers, they are also removed from the election duty. This is the main incident happened so far.
Right.
Apart from that, in a different incident, Trinamool Congress has complained to the Election Commission regarding the alleged attack on their candidate of Arambagh seat, Sujata Mondol, who is also the wife of BJP MP Soumitra Khan. But barring this incident, polling is going on peacefully, and 53.89% polling has been recorded till 1 p.m.
Right. Thank you, Madhuparna, for those details. In Assam, 337 candidates, including 25 women, are in the fray for the 40 assembly constituencies spread over 12 districts going to polls during the third and final phase. Our Guwahati correspondent reports that a total of 11,401 polling stations have been set up for this purpose. Now we go over live to our Guwahati correspondent Manas to get the latest updates on the polling going on in the state. So Manas, how is the enthusiasm of the voters in this phase of polls in Assam?
Well, absolutely, there is a great enthusiasm among the voters. Right now, I am at Barpeta Road. Here, 5 polling stations clubbed in a single place, Gopinath Bordoloi Memorial High School. I can see is a very pleasant weather, beautiful weather. People are queuing up. Several voters started reaching polling booths much before the actual polling has started. Polling has begun at 7 a.m., but voters have queued up before 6 a.m. There are several new initiatives being taken by the district administration in this phase. The first voters and senior citizens were felicitated at various places. The first voters can click their photos in selfie stands. There were dedicated model polling booths for the COVID warriors. There are wall paintings dedicated for the great works of the COVID warriors. People are taking photos after casting their votes. Overall, it's an excellent atmosphere. All security arrangements have been put in place. There is no untoward incident has been reported.
Right, Manas. Thanks a lot for all those details.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has appealed to voters to come forward for voting wherein the voting process is underway. In a tweet today, Mr. Modi said elections are taking place in Assam, Kerala, Puducherry, Tamil Nadu and West Bengal. The Prime Minister said he requests the people in these places to vote in record numbers, particularly the young voters. BJP has demanded full inquiry of the VVPAT and EVMs found in the house of TMC leader Gautam Ghosh in Uluberia. Briefing media in New Delhi today, BJP leader and Union Minister Prakash Javadekar said it is a serious issue and may be bigger than it seems. He said 4 VVPATs and EVMs were found and confiscated last night from the residence of Gautam Ghosh. He said these EVMs were brought by a car which was on election duty. Mr. Javadekar said with this, yet another TMC attempt has been completely exposed. For the 4th and 5th phase of assembly elections in West Bengal, the election campaign is gaining momentum with prominent leaders of different political parties engaging in whirlwind tour. During this phase, 373 candidates will be vying for 44 assembly seats that will go to polls on 10th of April. The final scenario of the electoral contest in the 5th phase became clear on Saturday after withdrawal of candidature. Meanwhile, the scrutiny of nominations for the 6th phase of elections in West Bengal was undertaken yesterday. The last date of withdrawal of candidature will be 7th of April, and 43 assembly constituencies will go to polls in this phase on 22nd of April.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said false narratives are being built, be it about farm laws, CAA or labour laws. Addressing the BJP's 41st Foundation Day today, Mr. Modi said it is a conspiracy to create political instability. The Prime Minister highlighted that sometimes they say citizenship will be snatched, sometimes it is the farmers' land, but they are all blatant lies.
आज गलत नैरेटिव बनाए जाते हैं, कभी सीए को लेकर, कभी कृषि कानूनों को लेकर, कभी लेबर लॉ को लेकर। बीजेपी के प्रत्येक कार्यकर्ता को समझना होगा कि इसके पीछे सोची समझी राजनीति है। ये एक बहुत बड़ा षड्यंत्र है। इसका मतलब है देश में राजनीतिक अस्थिरता पैदा करना। इसलिए देश में तरह तरह की अफवाहें फैलाई जाती हैं, भ्रम फैलाए जाते हैं, झूठ फैलाया जाता है। कभी कहा जाता है कि संविधान बदल दिया जाएगा, कभी कहा जाता है आरक्षण समाप्त कर दिया जाएगा, कभी कहा जाता है नागरिकता छीन ली जाएगी, कभी कहा जाता है किसानों की जमीन छीन ली जाएगी। ये सब कोरे झूठ होते हैं।
He called upon BJP workers to go to the people and make them aware. Mr. Modi said the BJP not only represents national interest, but is also a party of regional aspirations, saying the party's mantra has been Vyakti se bada dal aur dal se bada desh. The Prime Minister reiterated this tradition continues to this day. Mr. Modi said the party fulfilled Shyama Prasad Mukherjee's vision of one India by scrapping Article 370 and gave Kashmir the constitutional right.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Peaceful voting underway for single-phase assembly elections in Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Union Territory of Puducherry. Third phase polling also progressing smoothly in West Bengal and Assam. Special campaign for COVID-19 appropriate behavior being launched today to ensure 100% mask usage, personal hygiene and sanitation. Night curfew imposed in Delhi till 30th of April in view of rising COVID cases. Indian Medical Association urges Centre to open up vaccination for everyone above 18 years of age. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses BJP workers on party's Foundation Day today, urges them to counter false narratives being built around farm laws, CAA and labour laws. Justice N.V. Ramana appointed as 48th Chief Justice of India. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar holds talks with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in New Delhi. And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu addresses Dandi Yatra concluding ceremony at Gujarat, says people may be political opponents, but they should work for development of the country. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
Welcome back to the Midday News. The Delhi government has imposed night curfew in the national capital from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. with immediate effect till the 30th of April. The decision was taken in the wake of increase in COVID-19 cases. There will be no restrictions on traffic movement during night curfew. People can get vaccinated but need to have an e-pass. Owners of ration, general fruits, vegetables and medical stores will be allowed on e-pass. Print and electronic media personnel will also be allowed to move on e-pass. Private doctors, nurses and paramedical staff will remain exempted from night curfew. Passengers going to airports, railway stations and bus stations will be exempted if a valid ticket is produced. Pregnant women and patients going for treatment have also been exempted. There shall be no restriction on interstate and intrastate movement and transportation of essential and non-essential goods. No separate permission or e-pass will be required for such movements.
COVID-19 vaccination drive has crossed a landmark milestone in the country today. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry has informed that over 8 crore 31 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered to the beneficiaries so far. In the last 24 hours, a record number of over 43 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine have been inoculated to the beneficiaries. The Union Health Minister, Dr. Harshvardhan, has appealed to the people to follow all the COVID-19 guidelines to fight against the virus.
केसेस 10-11 स्टेट्स में है तो भी सारे देश में हर नागरिक का ये कर्तव्य है कि मास्क का ठीक प्रकार से इस्तेमाल करना, हर समय करना, 2 गज की दूरी बनाकर रखना, हाथों को साबुन से सैनिटाइजर की मदद से साफ रखना, भीड़ भड़के के स्थानों पर जाने को अवॉइड करना, ऐसे फंक्शंस को अवॉइड करना। इस नाते आप सबसे मेरी अपील है, अपनी रक्षा के लिए, अपने परिवार के स्वास्थ्य की रक्षा के लिए, समाज के और देश के स्वास्थ्य की रक्षा के लिए कृपया कोविड एप्रोप्रिएट बिहेवियर को अपनाने में जरा भी चूक ना करें, जरा भी लापरवाही ना करें।
Meanwhile, rapid rise in the new COVID-19 cases has increased the active caseloads in the country. At present, there are more than 7,88,000 active cases in the country, which comprises 6.21% of the total positive cases. More details from our correspondent.
The Health Ministry informed that a total of 96,982 new cases have been reported in the country in the last 24 hours, whereas 446 deaths were also reported in the same time. The Health Ministry is closely monitoring the situation in the country, and Union Health Minister Harshvardhan is meeting with Health Ministers of 11 states and Union territories today. The Health Ministers of states which have been witnessing a surge in coronavirus cases will be present in the meet for reviewing the situation. These 11 states are Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Delhi, Gujarat, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab and Rajasthan. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is also scheduled to discuss the COVID situation and the vaccination program in the country in his review meet with Chief Ministers of all states and UTs to be held on this Thursday. Anand Chaturvedi, AIR News, Delhi.
The Indian Medical Association IMA has urged the centre to open up vaccination for everyone above 18 years of age. In a letter written to the Prime Minister today, the IMA has also appealed that the government should make vaccination certificate mandatory for entry into public places and large gatherings. Highlighting the gradual rise in number of new COVID cases, the association termed it painful that in spite of extraordinary efforts of the government, the new cases in the apparent second wave is turning alarming. Talking to All India Radio News, IMA President Dr. J.A. Jayalal said the only weapon in front of us to control the spread of COVID cases is to open up vaccination above 18 years of age.
We appeal to our Honorable Prime Minister to take away the age restriction for vaccination because it is mandatory at this age as the disease is spreading very fastly and the second wave is surging in. More than 1 lakh people are getting affected, and if you look into the demography of the people who are affected in the second wave, most of them are belong to the younger age group, and they are the people who are communicating and commuting outside, and they are more vulnerable. At this age, if we are the only weapon in front of us to eradicate or control this COVID surge is only the vaccination, else the vaccination will give the personal immunity. Also, it will help in the herd immunity. So, it is mandatory to be executed at the war foot level. Everyone who is above the age of 18 shall be allowed to walk in to the private or public sector and get vaccinated.
A special campaign for COVID-19 appropriate behavior will be launched today. It will emphasize on 100% mask usage, personal hygiene and sanitation at public places, workplaces and health facilities. The special campaign will be organized till the 14th of this month. We have a report.
Some of the main reasons for the rapid rise in COVID cases can be attributed to the severe decline in compliance of COVID-appropriate behavior, primarily in terms of use of masks and maintaining 2 gaj ki duri. Therefore, government is launching this special campaign to emphasize the need for COVID-appropriate behavior in the coming days. For sustainable COVID-19 management, awareness and involvement of the community are paramount. There is a need to continue public participation and public movement for COVID-19 management. The five-fold strategy of testing, tracing, treatment, COVID-appropriate behavior and vaccination would be effective in curbing the spread of the pandemic. With Anupam Mishra, Suparna Sejja, AIR News, Delhi.
President Ramnath Kovind has appointed Justice N.V. Ramana as the 48th Chief Justice of India, accepting the recommendation made by the outgoing CJI S.A. Bobde. Justice Ramana will have a term till August 26 next year. Before his elevation to the Supreme Court on February 17, 2014, Justice Ramana was the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court. He was born in an agricultural family in Andhra Pradesh.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov held delegation-level talks in Delhi. In his opening remarks, Dr. Jaishankar said this year marks the 22nd year of strategic partnership and 12th year of special and privileged strategic partnership. He exuded confidence that the conversations would be conducted in that spirit as very close partners. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said India and Russia are tied through a strategic partnership, and at the heart of this partnership is the long-lived friendship between the nations. Mr. Lavrov arrived in New Delhi yesterday on a two-day visit to India.
Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has said that Mahatma Gandhi's non-violence is not only in physical terms, but also for spoken word and thought. Mr. Naidu was addressing the concluding ceremony at the National Salt Satyagraha Memorial in Dandi, Gujarat. The reenactment of Dandi Yatra was flagged off by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi from Sabarmati Ashram on the 12th of March. The Vice President said that people may be political opponents, but they are all Indians and should work for the development of the country.
उनकी अहिंसा सिर्फ शारीरिक हिंसा तक ही सीमित नहीं थी, बल्कि वचन और विचारों में भी अहिंसा होना आवश्यक था। ये आज भी बहुत जरूरी है। हम लोग आपस में एक दूसरे के बारे में आलोचना करते हुए या उल्लेख करते हुए प्रेम पूर्वक, क्योंकि हमारा सब लोग भारत का नागरिक है, भाई और बहन है। हम राजनीति में एक दूसरे को प्रतिद्वंदी हो सकती है, मगर शत्रु नहीं है। We have to respect, one, the people's mandate.
Strong foreign portfolio investment inflows into the Indian equity markets worth over 2,74,000 crore rupees took place in the last financial year. The Finance Ministry has said that this reflects steadfast confidence of foreign investors in the fundamentals of the Indian economy. The Finance Ministry has said that this happened because of faster than expected economic recovery, supported by multiple tranches of innovatively designed stimulus packages. Talking to AIR News, economist Naveen Gupta said,
Foreign portfolio investment into Indian capital market was worth over 2,74,000 crores during the last financial year, which was struck by pandemic COVID. This shows foreign investors have continued confidence in the Indian industry and economy as a whole. This was possible due to faster than expected recovery of Indian economy during the last financial year due to regular measures announced by the Government of India and Reserve Bank of India under Atmanirbhar Bharat package. Further, apt handling of COVID, which resulted in lowest positivity rate and lowest mortality rate in India.
The 14th edition of the Indian Premier League IPL 2021 is all set to begin on 9th of April. The opening match will be played between the defending champion Mumbai Indians against Royal Challengers Bangalore in Chennai. The final match will be played on 30th of May 2021 in Ahmedabad. Earlier, the BCCI announced a schedule for this edition on 7th of March. The matches will be played at 6 venues across the country in Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, Ahmedabad, Kolkata and Bengaluru.
Now let us take a look at the weather for today. Srinagar is witnessing generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The maximum temperature is expected to be around 14 degrees Celsius, while minimum 9 degrees. Jammu, with a generally cloudy sky with light rain, will see the temperature rising up to nearly 30 degrees from a minimum of 21 degrees. Leh is having a generally cloudy sky with maximum temperature rising up to 7 degrees Celsius. Minimum was 0 degrees. Gilgit is expected to have 15 degrees Celsius as an upper limit of temperature amid generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. It recorded a minimum of 8 degrees. Muzaffarabad is having a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The temperature will rise from a minimum of 10 degrees to an upper of 15 degrees. The national capital Delhi is likely to have a maximum temperature of 35 degrees Celsius. It recorded a minimum of 15 degrees. At the stock markets, after a solid opening today, the Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange wiped out all its gains in the afternoon session to trade 20 points lower at 49,140 a short while ago. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange, however, traded 19 points higher at 14,657. In the broader market, the BSE Mid-Cap Index advanced 0.8% and the Small Cap Index climbed 0.6%. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Peaceful voting underway for single-phase assembly elections in Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Union Territory of Puducherry. Third phase polling also progressing smoothly in West Bengal and Assam. Special campaign for COVID-19 appropriate behavior being launched today to ensure 100% mask usage, personal hygiene and sanitation. Night curfew imposed in Delhi till 30th April in view of rising COVID cases. Indian Medical Association urges centre to open up vaccination for everyone above 18 years of age. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addresses BJP workers on party's Foundation Day today, urges them to counter false narratives being built around farm laws, CAA and labour laws. Justice N.V. Ramana appointed as 48th Chief Justice of India. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar holds talks with his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov in New Delhi, and Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu addresses Dandi Yatra concluding ceremony at Gujarat, says people may be political opponents, but they should work for development of the country. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that, we end the Midday News.